This is a prepaid debit call from
an inmate at the correctional institution.
To accept this call, press 0.
Guys, welcome to another episode of the R.A.n.t podcast. I'm here with my host, Cesar Santa Maria. I ain't mean to put your government out there, man, but you know, that's the man of the hour right here. And you know, guys, today I really wanted to pick Cesar's brain. And you know, one of the reasons I really want to do that is because life has changed recently for you. In a big way, right? And you know, and that's because he is now a father to my godson and his son, but you know, it's all about me right now. But
right,
you know,
Jono's doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So, but no, guys, you know, he's recently become a father, and you know, and today's episode, I really wanted to center it around parenting, right? And I wanted to kind of dig into your brain a little bit, and you know, because Cesar's doing something that I think is really cool. All right. I've seen a lot of people parent, you know, and we've all had parents, and we know that it's a subject that never ceases to have commentary, right? But
yeah,
you know, Cesar, I've seen the way that you are with your son, and you're so patient with him. You're so kind. You are so present. And I swear that when Cesar's with this child, I never see any. I don't see any flashes of anger. I don't see any flashes of misunderstanding. Like, you know, you just how do you do that, man? Like, you know, like what is it? Because I can't imagine having someone screaming in my ear. Yo, me and Cesar will have meetings. And you know, we're over here having a meeting, and you know, naturally I know that you got to let kids be kids, right? Like I do know that. I'm at that point in my life where I understand that you can't be mad at kids when they don't know jack about the world, right? But your patience and the way that you treat that young man, young boy, but you know, the way that you treat your son, man, is I love it. I totally love it. Tell me more about that, man. Where does that patience come from?
I appreciate it, bro. You know, man, I appreciate your words, dog. It does definitely take a lot of effort. But at the same time, man, like, I don't know, for me, being like the oldest sibling, I think that's where a lot of my patience and understanding comes from.
Yeah. You've seen this movie before.
Yeah, man. I had 3 younger siblings. So, for me, I'm not going to say it's not nothing new. There's definitely new. But you know, having that experience kind of helps you, or has helped me, be patient with little man.
Yeah.
Definitely something that he be trying me. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it's not like I'm be like, oh, like he can't do no wrong in my eyes, but nah, he does. And some days I be looking at him, I'm like, bro, you need to chill out. But you know, in the same breath that I'm like thinking that, I realize that he's just excited for life because he's only 2 years in the game, and every day is like exciting for him.
Yeah.
So I just think about like, why am I trying to kill his excitement? You know, for me, it's like, okay, like I can relish in the fact that he's genuinely excited to show me what he's learning, or for me to be a part of what he's doing, or just involve me in what he's trying to do. We're old, you know, like at this point.
We're jaded.
Yeah, man. So for me, it's like I just let him be him, man. Like I'm letting him explore himself and everything around him.
Yeah.
I'm just a security guard, bro. I'm just here to make sure he don't get hurt and he don't die, for real.
You know, and even when I do see you get upset with him, which isn't often, I don't think I've ever really seen you get upset with him, but there have been instances where I've heard you kind of hit him with the hey. Right, like hey, cut it out, right? And even in those moments, like I could hear you giggling as you're saying it, or I don't know. It's like I could tell that you hit him with something stern, and then you just start smiling or something. I don't know. I can just tell that you haven't fully committed to being mean in those moments. You know, you just kind of gotta remind him, like, hey, what you're doing is not okay, but come here and give Daddy a hug. It's always that vibe, you know, with you, and I think that's amazing.
Because he knows, man. That's why I laugh too. You know, you're right. Because I do laugh right after I hit him with the A. Because it's a change in my tone. So he literally, every time I do that, he literally stops what he's doing and just looks at me. Yeah. And then I just shake my head and he just like He just slowly like walks away from whatever he's doing,
Yeah.
and then he just goes back to playing. You know, again, just I'm setting his boundaries.
Right.
Right.
You're
At
teaching
least
him
that's how I
boundaries.
do it. Yeah, man. But I'm not doing anything drastic to scare him. I'm not trying to get him to be intimidated by me. I'm just letting him know, like, yo, don't do that.
Right.
But then, you know, he knows what he can do because I'm letting him. I give him free range, so it's not like I try not to stifle his growth, his exploration. Don't get me wrong, though. Again, whenever he's acting up, I will snatch his little butt up. Like,
Right,
whenever
right.
he's really not trying, I'll snatch him up. I'll let him know, like, hey, I'm your dad, and I'm gonna pick you up like a sack of potatoes and carry you to where you need to be.
Right. You are Sir Dad.
And yeah, Sir Dad, bro. Like, like no, for real. Because he will try to like tell me what to do, and I'm like, that's fine, man. Like, you know, like let's play. But then when it's like, I need you to cross the street with me, or I need you to like not jump on the edge of the couch because we have tile flooring, and if you fall off, you're gonna crack your head.
Right.
I need to be able to snatch you up or just like put you where you need to be.
Yeah.
But again, like, you know, something that I guess the one thing that I say that I've learned, and you know, been given advice on as like a parent, is that as a parent you're a teacher too. Like, even if you don't think you want to be or you are, like, as a parent you are a teacher. Like, kids shouldn't just go to school to learn from teachers or people outside of your home. Like, you're automatically a parent and a teacher. You're teaching them certain values, you know, guidelines, human interaction, emotional interaction, and they pick up on all of that, man. And it's like, if you're aware or not, like, you are a teacher. And I guess I'm always conscious of that. That's why I'm like, I try not to just blow up on them. And if I feel agitated, man, I chill out. I let him do his thing for a second, and I just like, all right, like, now I'm cool to grab him up and make sure he's not doing whatever it was that he was doing.
Yeah. That takes a lot. You know, that takes a lot of discipline on your part. You know, and you're not the only parent in my life that I've been kind of just watching. You know, my brother-in-law and his wife, you know, they have two young girls, my two nieces, right, and you know, they have a very similar parenting style to you, right? Like, I see the patience, and I see, you know, how well they do at teaching, but also how well they do at, you know, reminding these children that they have their own autonomy, right? Like, that they are their own people, and that their opinions matter, right? Like, not opinions, not necessarily their opinions, but more so like their no's matter. Like, if they tell you no, then it's just like, all right, okay. Like, even if you know it's what's best for them in that moment, you know, they're really good at that. And that's one of the things that I've really taken up, was just like, you know, you got to be able to teach a child that no means no, right? Like, even their no's, right? Because back in the day, I remember when I was growing up, people didn't really give two shits what you were saying. You know what I mean? Like, at least, you know, like, oh, you're just a kid, you don't know no better, right? But then that's the same reason that, like, you know, if you don't teach a kid when they're young that their no's matter, and that their yeses matter, and that their voice, to a degree, right, like, it does matter to mom and dad, you know what I mean? Like, you know, then that's the same reason that kids end up getting, you know, taken advantage of by other adults that are pieces of work,
crap,
right?
Yeah.
Pieces of crap, you know. And so, you know, I really enjoy watching you parent, bro. Like, I'm not even just saying that, but
hey, man,
you're teaching me so much. Because, I mean, you know, soon bro. I plan on jumping into that pond myself.
This world, this life.
Eventually, right? And it's coming up. You know, the wife and I have been talking about it. And so, you know, eventually I'll have a child too, man. And, like, I'm taking notes, bro. I'm taking notes. You know, but also, man, tell me about the dynamic of, you know, trying not to let these other influences, right, influence your child as much, right? Because, like you said, you know, of course, your role as a teacher is important, right? But then, you know, you know, I've heard you mention in the past that, you know, you also have to be wary and aware of, like, what he's learning from other people, right? People who aren't always you or his mother or his grandparents, right? Or sometimes it is people in the very household that you live in that might be teaching this child something that you don't agree with, or like how do you navigate that?
Man, that's a tough one, man, because like you don't really know what's going on until you see it.
Yeah.
Like and I'm not even saying like them being taught, but them doing it on their own.
Right.
And you're like, yo, who would you learn that from? And a lot of the time, man, like at least right now, he's really young. It's same practice, bro. I can't get frustrated, right? Because like,
it's not his fault.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't also, like, if I can't pinpoint it in the time that's being taught, then I can't do anything about it. At least in the moment to stop it, right? Like now, once I see it and I don't really like it, then like maybe redirecting him. But that's where what I learned was like I gotta pour more into his glass, right? It's like he's the glass and there's a lot of pitchers trying to pour water into his cup. I'm trying to be the pitcher that's pouring the most water, to drown out whatever else is going on.
Right.
Because for me, the important part is like for him to know that he can rely on me to explore with him, to learn, to even show me what he is learning. Because we also started him in Montessori school not too long ago, and he's super excited about it, man. Every time I come back home, I see him and he's just showing me what he learned, and he gets excited that he gets to use it on me, and I'm like, okay, cool. But I guess the one thing that I'm saying with like mitigating that, like him learning from outside sources is just making sure you're the first one he comes to, like knowing that he can trust me, and not even trust, because it's not even about trust. It's just like wanting to, like the excitement that I see him come to me when he has to learn something new, or he wants to show me his new toy that he got from his grandpa. Like
that matters to
Yeah. I want to show him that as much as it matters to him, it matters to me. So I want him to always come back to me, and as I'm building that foundation with him, if once he gets older and he starts learning things outside of me, I can always correct if it's like something really bad.
Yeah.
And at the same time, man, like, something I heard, someone older told me this, and they were like, you as a parent, you are constantly working on building up this child and pouring into them, getting them ready for the world. And eventually you got to be okay with the fact that you're not going to be there for him at a certain point. Like there's going to be a part in his life where you're not going to be there to guide him. So it's almost like using all this time that you have now and kind of building that now. Because eventually none of us are eternal is basically what I got from the conversation, but you also got to be okay with like letting them go to the world and hopefully like they've been equipped well enough that they can navigate it without you.
That reminds me of something I've always said to parents, even though I ain't no parent, right? Like, I've always, because, like I've had a lot of instances where, a good friend of mine is in a situation where a baby's coming, right? And that's been you, right? Like even you've been in that situation. And one of the things that I've always firmly held on to is that, as a parent, clearly, right, the job is to protect your child and to do all those things. But I do think that there's a little bit more of like preparing your child more so than protecting them, right? Like, you know, because if all you're ever concerned about is protecting them, then you don't have to really be teaching someone something in order to protect them, right? But now when you're preparing someone, though, there's a lot of rigorous training. There's a lot of rigorous lessons that come with that, right? That's you really reminding yourself and without them knowing it, instilling in them the ability to hold up on their own, to stand 10 toes in the midst of controversy, in the midst of, the world, because the world will eventually kick their ass, right? Like the world will eventually, show them just how cruel things can be out here. And you always pray to God that that's not the case, right? You you ideally want your child to get through this world without any of those kinds of realizations, at least not too soon, and even if they do
not
realize
as early,
not as early, yeah. So I feel that, man. I that was a really good point though, because like you said, they're gonna face the world on their own, right? And so how would you say that, at this early stage, how are you taking care of that? Like, how are you really like preparing more so than anything?
I like it. I gotta look at him as like an extension of myself, which he is. He's half of me, right?
Yeah.
And just looking at him and just thinking about like, okay, what is it that he needs? But also from like a perspective of like, okay, what was it that I needed when I was at that age, or like what was it that I wasn't getting? And what was and what else was I also getting too, right? Because it's a balance of both, right? Like certain things you get at certain ages when you start learning stuff, but then you also may be missing some stuff, man. Our parents were busy. At least my parents are too busy trying to figure out life in America. So like there's certain things that I had to learn on my own.
Right.
So just kind of covering my bases on like what that is, right? Like if I was him, what would he need from me? And kind of just like trying to put myself in his shoes, even though he's like a little kid.
Yeah.
So it's a mix, man. He's too young to like really learn the good and bad of the world, but just the one thing I always try to build into him is just being very open and nice to everybody. He already has the personality for it, man. He's such a smiley kid. He's like super friendly. He's always trying to make friends with everybody. So I just kind of keep building him up on that space. But then I can also see that he also has this like understanding of when someone's not really messing with him, or if someone's being mean to him, he won't do nothing, but he just won't be messing with him. Like he'll just like, all right, I ain't playing with you, bro. Like you don't play nice. All right, I'm over here. And if they come around, he's like, I'm over there.
Right.
I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, you're a 2-year-old. I don't really expect you to do anything crazy, but the fact that you can
see that.
understand that much, yeah. I'm like, okay. So just kind of instilling him, just being able to, read a room basically.
Yeah.
Because that's all I can do, right? Like he can barely talk, so it's not like I can like tell him what he should and shouldn't be doing.
No, man, I totally agree with that, man. I mean, you're doing what you can, essentially. You know what I mean? You're doing what you can, but you're also conscious of these things, and I think that's something that can't be overstated enough, right? Or is still realizing that children are so much smarter than we give them credit for. So much smarter. I mean, you just got to remember that this small human being just doesn't know anything, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What I mean? They were like they just came into the world, opened their eyes, and now they're really observing the world and observing the world and taking it all in for the first time. Yeah. And people don't. Oftentimes don't.
I've seen people get like real, like mad. It's real crazy how some parents might overreact, or at least from my perspective, right? Like it's when the kid is so young, man. You gotta practice patience. Because if you get mad over everything they do or them being like a kid, then you're never going to be happy, right? Because, man, I can't tell you how many times my kid has taken a marker and drawn over all the couches. Like, he's just having fun, right? I mean, I told him not to do it. But, if I turn away for too long, he's going to do it. But that's why you got to mitigate that somehow. But then also show him how to not do that. I mean, you can literally yell at the kid all day long. All you're going to do is turn that kid into like a child that's scared of you whenever you're around. And they got to start watching themselves when it comes to like, who they want to be. And I'm like, nah, I'd rather correct you with stuff that's like actually going to hurt you or hurt the people around you. So it's just practicing patience, man, and understanding. Those like the two things that you got to do with a kid. Yeah. If you can't have those two things, man, it's gonna be a hard fight. Because kids, try your patience, and you definitely don't understand each other. Because my mans don't speak a lick of nothing, and y'all basically just trying to understand each other.
That was beautifully articulated.
Yeah.
No, it was. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, again, you know, like you said, we don't understand each other. You know what I mean? It's kind of like talking to someone in a foreign language.
Yeah, it is.
I
No,
remember,
literally.
I actually don't remember if you were in the car with me when we were in China and we got lost.
Oh no, I was.
Well, yeah,
I
and
was.
I don't know if you remember. I'm yelling at this Chinese man, and he's yelling at me
But,
back, and we don't understand each other. Like nothing's getting solved, like at all.
dude, I was in the back saying like, "Yo, bro, I don't understand what you're saying."
Yeah, you know, like it's you know. So yeah, I totally get that. Like you know,
Yeah.
and I'll end it with this, man, because I once had a dog, and this dog taught me more about patience in the year that in the year and a half that I had him than anything else, you know, and he helped me realize this dog, it was just a dog, not a human. Right? Not comparing the two at all, but what I am saying is that I did realize real early on that damn, this small creature doesn't know anything. Anything. Like, you know, he was born and 8 weeks into his life, here comes this big human and takes him away. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so yeah, like all I'm saying is that, you know, learning patience and just realize, like recognizing your audience, knowing your personnel. Right? Like this is a child. I get annoyed with adults that just can't understand that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, this is a kid that's been on this planet for 2 years. Shit, you've been on this planet for 40 plus years and you still don't know lickety shit about this planet. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so I don't know. I just,
No, I agree, man. That's
I commend you, man. You're doing God's work right now. You know, you're doing God's work. And, you know, before we end it off, man, do you have any advice you'd like to leave the audience with?
You know, the one thing that I will take away from this parenting thing, man, is like it gives me a lot of appreciation and humbleness to like think about all the time and effort my parents, or even anybody that I can say is a loved one of mine, that helped me when I was a kid. You know, because you realize how much this child is dependent on me to keep him alive and feed him and change him and make sure that he's good. And I mean, that really just comes out of love, man. You know, and I just think about how, you know, like I'm doing this for my son, but then, you know, I think about like, you know, who did it for me and spent all this time, you know, because that is time, it's effort, it's money. You know, and it's you can easily just walk away from the child and be like, oh, I don't care. Well, I don't know. Actually, it may not be that easy, but you know, someone can, and people have, right? But the fact that like it gives me appreciation for those that have done that for me, and that's kind of the thing that I'm learning from parenting.
That's
someone did this for me, so I'm just passing it on.
That's real. That's a gem that I guess I never really looked at like that. I mean, you know, like, yeah, like, you know, you don't realize the patience that went into, because, you know, for example, when I look back on my life, I was raised right. You know, like I had love, you know what I mean? I had people who, like, for example, when you were talking earlier about, you know, the baby coming and showing you things that he's excited about. And I made the comment that those things are important to him, right? Like, it takes a lot of energy from the adult's perspective to be excited about something that you're not excited about, right? Like, and you know, like, just because you're not excited about it doesn't mean you don't recognize its importance, right? But like, it's like taking the time to, like, you know, bend over and look at him and be like, that's amazing. Like, oh my God, like, you know, making him feel good about what he's showing you, and you know, giving that extra bit of effort to instill confidence and to build up self-esteem and all these things like that takes a lot more than people realize. So, hey man, again, hat off to you, brother. Hat off to you. You know, and may God bless your son, you know, and your family. And I'm just, I'm glad we got to have this conversation, and I hope that people can take something away from it, because I know that I did.
Man, it's part of the role, man. I always say that if you're going to have a child, man, be present, be active. Because like, you wouldn't want to do yourself like that. Would you fuck with yourself if, you know, you did yourself like that and just walked out of the life, or just weren't active or nothing?
Nope,
I wouldn't mess with me.
I'd
you
call
know,
me
if
a
I was,
deadbeat.
I'd hate myself. You know, like I was like,
you know what I'd do to myself? I'd have to be like, Get off the stage.
Yeah, that's basically it, man. Like, I appreciate that, bro. But you know, it's like the moment that he was born, I was like, okay, it's game time. There's nothing, like, there's no other option. I got to give you as much as I can.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that you're that kind of man, bro.
I
Glad
appreciate
you're
it,
that
bro.
kind of man. And guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We want you to know that if you really enjoy what you're seeing here, please share, subscribe, like, tell your friends about it, tell your mama about it. We got the pro wrestling historian here and Sir Dad. So you can never go wrong with us. Okay, if you want to follow us on YouTube or our new Instagram, right? You can find us at verified rant. That is at verified rant, right? If you want to find us on other social platforms, you certainly can. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. And you can always reach us at rantwiththeboys@gmail.com. All right.
You got any questions, concerns, hit us up on our email, yo.
Yeah, and honestly, if you just got feedback, if you just want to say what's
Right.
good, hit the
Right.
email up. All right, guys, we're very responsive, and so we appreciate all of you. Okay. So with all of that, guys, you know how we end these episodes, all right? And so it's time for...
You have 1 minute remaining.
And so, guys, I just wanted to say that, one of the things that I hate and I just want to rant about today is people ain't drinking enough water, all right? Y'all out here thirsty. You hear me? Like, actually thirsty. Like, there's people out here dehydrated and y'all got bad skin and you wonder why everything hurts and why you always got headaches and and all this stuff, and it's just you ain't drinking enough water. Drink water. H2O is so good for you. I'm no scientist, but I know that if you are hydrated, your body functions so much more efficiently than when it's not. If you're someone that never drinks water, that's a huge problem. All right. I don't want to be that guy on the high horse, wagging my fingers at people that ain't drinking water. But just do yourself a favor. Don't even do me a favor. I don't give a damn what you do, honestly. I mean, if you don't want to drink water, that's more water for me. We're running
That's
out of
on
fresh
you,
water anyway. So that's more for me. But shoot, if you care about yourself, you care about your health, you care about your future, drink water. I'm gonna just end it by saying I had my boss, and I hope he's listening to this because I had and he knows who he is. But man, this man drank coffee and Dr. Pepper all day, every day, and always had a headache about noon. And he'd come over to me like, Jonathan, I don't know what's up, man. I got this headache. I'm like, bro, did you drink any water today? He's like, nah. He said he's never drank water in his life. I was like, that's actually crazy, bro. That's actually crazy. If you're someone that doesn't drink water because you don't like the taste of it, then you suck. All right, that's it.
No, it's crazy. I can't. All right, so my rant. So look, in work they always say, shit rolls downhill. It's a crazy world in this, what we call, corporate or job world, whatever you're in, just know that if you ain't at the top, the shit's rolling downhill. And if you're down that hill, it's going to hit you. So don't trust upper management. Like, don't trust nobody. If you're trying to make some moves within the company, everyone smiles in your face, and again, you get the short end of the stick. So if you haven't heard that, I'm just reminding you, man. Like, look out for yourself. It's chess moves only. Like, so move accordingly, and then don't trust nobody above you, man. Well, maybe if they're a mentor, but even then, like, just be careful out here. That's all.
It's rough.
It's rough.
Hey guys, that was our public service announcement from C's the T's. So remember, shit rolls downhill.
It rolls downhill.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us. And with that being said, C's
Rant out.
Rants out.